Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, I do have a flipping throat like a frog. I feel like a smacked chicken, and I don't know how I'm going to do it. So I had to come live today just to check in with all of you. We need to get well, don't we? I like that. The guy in the Discord said it. So, what do we know today? Today is going to be the FOMC. It's the moment we've all been waiting for. And I'm going to keep this live short and sweet because my voice just sounds terrible, let alone with a decent mic. It sounds even more despicable. But anyway, I'm not smacking my own chicken, bro. I said I sound and look like a smacked chicken. Please. I don't know what's going on. There's some virus going around. It seems like it likes to be attached to me. But anyways, is this the end of an era for Powell? That's the question. But I'm going to present something to you. There is a high chance that we're going to be going into the start of 2026 with the idea that we may not get more rate cuts. And that's what today is all about. I'm going to break down what we're going to be looking for from Jerome Powell today. And that's going to be at 7 p.m. UK time, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard. Let's get my bearings then. And I will be live beforehand. So we're going to do the usual routine. Can you believe it's already been since the last FOMC? The bass in the voice. Anyways, I'm going to break it all down for you so you guys know what to expect. You've got to be careful today, jokes aside, right? Because price action is very wild. Got NASDAQ moving up aggressively. Bitcoin's pulled back a little bit. What a pump yesterday from Bitcoin, given that the JOLTS job openings have shown 7.67 million. So the jobs market's doing fine. I'm going to present a story to you to help you guys understand how to see this. You got to look between the lines of it all right? We won't know anything. We don't know anything unless the people that want to put the money down start putting it down, which will give us a belief and expectation of their commitment to what they think is going on in the future, right? The market prices everything now, okay? Let's get with the program, break it all down. Mad love to you all, mad love. I did not actually. No, I didn't. I didn't take any of those jabs, not at all. But anyways, let's get with the program and break it all down as fast as I physically can. So, this was from Bloomberg today, okay? I'm going to read it to you, but you've got to read in between the lines, okay? It says here, in the US, recent economic data has shown that the economy is cooling in a manner consistent with what the Fed wants, all right? So this right here pretty much tells you that the expectation from the Federal Reserve is the economy is slowing down a little bit, but we expect it to. Why? Well, we've had a bit of a problem with tariffs. So come on. That's usually what happens when you start taxing everyone. Goes on to say, but not weak enough to accelerate rate cuts. So even though we've got a little bit of a contraction in the US economy, which technically we don't because the last two readings of the GDP showed an expansion, and the only next affected reading on the GDP is because of the government shutdown, where it lost 1.7%, which is roughly around $11 billion. That was an engineered contraction. So they would see it as, it's not really the economy. We did this ourselves, right? Then goes on to say that inflation is easing, but still above target, while the labor market continues to show some resilience. How do we understand how to translate that? Inflation is still easing, but it's still above the target. Well, that basically says we can't change the target that we've got. The dual mandated target is 2%. If they come around, even though some hedge fund players and investment banks have turned around and said that the Federal Reserve really needs to start readjusting its inflation target to around 2.53%, because it looks like inflation isn't going anywhere. The Federal Reserve, mark my words, will not do that. And if they do, it will be one of the most catastrophic things for the Federal Reserve in terms of credibility. If you're a foreign investor, whether you're Japanese, UK, Chinese, given that you are the three of the biggest purchasers of US debt, if you're sticking to a specific target, that means you need to hit that target. If I start changing that target, I'm going to start as an investor saying, hold on a second, I'm not liking that. If you're changing your target on inflation, that means the policies that you're executing, they're not really working. So that undermines your ability to run the financial system. So I'm going to demand a higher rate of return on buying your debt. Is that higher rate of return being shown? Yes, it is. Go over to the bonds market. What do you have? 2-year yields rising, 5-year, 10-year, 30-year. They're all trailing upwards. This tells us that the Fed or the marketplace is giving the investors the idea that they expect interest rates to be higher for longer. Okay? Obviously, Fed cut this week maybe last for a while. Your US economy is not struggling. Even though we expect it to contract, it doesn't mean it's struggling. So the idea of a soft landing is coming into play. That's good news. If we're getting a soft landing, that's good news. But the Fed has started to pay attention to the fact that inflation is still a problem. They're not bothered about the labor market. That was evident yesterday with the JOLTS job openings report coming in at 7.67 million. So the labor market has got resilience. When you've got all these business deals coming into play, all these data centers that need to be built, so many companies are joining forces to create things, it's going to create work. So the Fed's like, okay, we don't need to worry about the labor market anymore because we know it's doing well. Let's just go back to our target of 2% on inflation. That means we start keeping the interest rates as they are. So if the Federal Reserve today give us any indication that they are going to keep the rates higher for longer, then the market's not going to like that. But is the market already pricing that in? Check this out. Here is the bets for today. 89.6% on the reading for the rates to be cut today. Cool. Now, January, 70% are betting at 3.5, 3.75%. Happy days. Cool. That's where they are with the interest rates in the next meeting in January. All right. March, 54.6% are betting for 3.5, 3.75. Okay, cool. April, 46% are betting for 3.5, 3.75. All right. It's only in April do we actually start to see that the bets are starting to even out towards 3.25, 3.5%. Okay. So the idea is that investors already know that the Fed is going to step back on cutting the interest rates. So we can then assume that these yields are going to stay higher for longer because the rates aren't going to get cut. So what does that mean? Well, it means Bitcoin will be coming down. Euro will be going down. Yen will be going down because investors are going into the dollar to generate a yield. Now, we've just had some news, especially with the Bank of Japan. They're going to increase their interest rates on the 19th of December. Someone asked the question on the channel, like, so where's the carry trade unwind? Ha, ha, ha. You donut. They haven't cut the rates yet. So why would they haven't hiked them. So why would we, anyways, yeah, 2 seconds. My face is fried. I can't do it. Wait there. Oh my God. I don't know how I'm doing this right now. My God. Anyway, back to it. 2 weeks ago, you said you took 8K to 90K. There's a video on the channel, but it was 3.5K to 125. And with the red candle, green candle strategy only, or the drop and wait for the green vector to come. It was trading the NASDAQ, and it was the stop in volume candle. The video's in this chat in the channel, and I do a breakdown of the strategy itself with options. But it doesn't matter whether it is with options or not. The options was a certain strategy. It was just an execution, all right? Just because of certain amounts of leverage that I can use that I've got flexibility with. So, but yeah, that video is in the channel. Just go back a few videos. It was a video, not a live stream. And it's talking about the stop in volume candles. It's in there. Just go through the videos, but it's in there. Bro, that's a dead comment, man. Come on, bro. Why are you saying that? Why would you say that? That's so shit, man. What a cunt. Excuse me. Anyways, we've got this story as well. Trump's to start the final chair interview. So this could be Powell's last FOMC, to be honest with you all, which is going to be interesting because the people that are going to be, who he's got lined up, they're all pro-Trump. They're all pro-rate cuts. All right? So just make sure you take that into consideration. Anyways, BlackRock, been a bit busy on the sell side of the ETF. That's no good. 2 days ago, we saw some Ethereum being offloaded. Now, in 2 hours, we've had 300, 300, 300, 300. Oh my God, 3, 6, 9, 12, nearly 2,000 Bitcoin being sold into Coinbase Prime Deposit. And yesterday's pump was pretty interesting, to say the least. You can see that they've just pumped it up. And when you see these pumps, guys, it's a bit of a problem because it doesn't show true commitment. Going into it, look at this. This is the depth of market. Sorry, the order book depth on the spot market of Bitcoin. Okay. And the way you read this is you've got to look at what these red bars mean. These red bars do not mean selling to the downside. It means selling to the upside. So you can see here where the red was, and you saw that big red amount. That was when price was rising. So they're selling, the offers are being hit. So the Bitcoin is being sold as prices are rising. Okay. Now we've got a wave of bids, which is the blue, these green bars here. Right. So what you've got to look at is say to yourself, well, until I see more commitment of reds, that means people wanting to sell. Why would I be buying Bitcoin? If you're going to buy in the phase where the guys are buying it as it drops, be careful because the buying or the bidding could last a long time. And if we get any indication from the Federal Reserve that we're not going to get as many cuts next year or even get any cuts next year because they've moved the goalposts on the idea that they want to keep interest rates high to get inflation target down to 2%, well, it's time to short Bitcoin, isn't it? Look, you're going into a big change, macroeconomically speaking, right? And when it comes to interest rates, you got to turn to the Forex market to understand if investors are seeking dollars or they're seeking assets against the US dollar. Going over to it, looking at the dollar pair itself, you can see it's basing out. It's holding out at these levels. So we just got to be very cautious because if Powell says, yes, we're reducing the balance sheet, doing all of that, we're seeing that the labor market is cool, but not a problematic thing. We're going to be focusing on inflation, and we think that keeping the interest rates as they are is going to get us towards that target of inflation because the Fed's seen that inflation is easing at the levels that we are at. So if we just cut it 25 basis points, then things should be good to see if we can get inflation back down to those levels. Okay. But yeah, I've got some good news for you as well, guys. Check this out. BTCC. So you can now trade on BTCC through TradingView, right? And 10 million global users as well. So basically, you join BTCC, you can trade through TradingView. What I've done is we're partnered with BTCC. Pinned to the top of the chat is where you can trade BTCC. You got all these assets here, okay? And if you join it using the Traders Reality link, you get a deposit bonus. But what I've done is if you go into the description, I've attached the watch list that connects you to all the indices that you can trade, okay, using the ticker symbols from BTCC. So that is just below in the description of this live stream and video. Just below is the watch list. I've shared it so you guys don't have to rush around asking what is the ticker symbol for NASDAQ. I've got NASDAQ, Japanese index, and Dow Jones, and the S&P 500. If you want that, it's in the description of this video live stream. Then you can download it and then you can add to it. Okay. Now, with that being said, I just want to draw your attention to something. These guys, Benziga, whatever, they're saying to forget MicroStrategy because this Bitcoin mining stock is ready for a breakout. Before you start taking that seriously, look at it. This is focused on blockchain technologies and a digital currency ecosystem, right? It's not doing too bad in terms of its earnings. It's very, very cheaply priced, but there's a reason why it's cheaply priced. All right, you've got to take that into consideration. Stop doing that deep, sexy voice, Tino. My girl is listening. What days. Yeah. So this is the stock, and management holds 43% of the stock. So that's going to be interesting. All right. So that does improve the chances of it potentially going up. But it's starting to play the idea of what MicroStrategy is doing. It says here it's offered 16.8 million convertible notes and issued 57.9 million DeFi debt. Anyways, don't start going crazy with this. You want to see more fund owners stepping into buying this stock. All right. When it gets to about 35, 40, then happy days. Start paying attention to it. Okay. But keep this in the background. Look, pumps. Some things are brewing, okay? Volume's coming into it, right? Yes, I do still. For Crow, yes. All day for Crow. All day. I know that Family Guy episode you're talking about. Circle's still a good shout. They're doing some business with Bybit. I'm telling you, businesses are coming out. Yeah, this is good news. It is 334 guys. We've been watching this since it started at 13 funds. I said once it hits 100, then we start paying attention. It's now 344 funds are stepping into it. All right, don't sleep on this. Don't. I'm telling you. Anyways, can we check Mara? Yeah, you can check or trade. Yeah, Mara's on here with BTCC. You can trade that. And Mara. Oh, sorry. What am I doing? Mara right here. Mara Holdings. As it stands right now, trading sideways, doing relatively well. 448 funds playing this, and its earnings per share and its sales are showing expansion, in essence, accelerating, but not really, because we saw a decrease in its earnings, but it's still doing okay. Okay. Oh, God. Oh, yeah, it could be another super inflated altcoin, Crow, but there is business behind it. That's the thing. I like that coin. I like it. But anyways, I like it more than XRP. That's one thing for sure. Anyways, 15 minutes until the market reopens. Yeah, my hair's growing back. It won't be for long. Anyways, listen, I'm going to love you, leave you, okay? But tune in later on for the FOMC. It's going to be a big one, all right? We've got to pay attention to what Powell says. Be careful trading. It's going to be sporadic. Big bets are not on the table just yet. They will be once the FOMC is done. Once the FOMC starts talking about climate change and talking about BS topics, then that's when you can probably start taking, some trades. But wait until Powell gives us the nuggets, when he gives us the information about whether they're going to be cutting the rates into next year. And if they are, how much? If they're not, why not? Then just look at trading the narrative of the rate cuts or not. I'm so sorry. But anyways, I'll tune into you all later on. All right. Take care of yourselves.